It's February 26th. It has been a while, but I guess that's what happens to us in Minnesota being beekeepers. I was gonna show you what my plan was this morning. It's 37, it's gonna be up to 50 today. And like usual, my fall prep was not all that I had hoped it would be. I did not do any candy boards or any of that, whatever it's called, mountain house system or something like that. I didn't do any of that. I tried oxalic acid for the first time. I only did one treatment though, so but I did do Apivar and my normal Mite-Away quick strips. So I'm hoping, but I guess the little blips that I've seen online are that colony collapse or higher percentages of hives dying, colonies dying is the norm, I guess, this year. So we'll see. But before I take you out to the apiary, the muddy mess that I've heard that is, this will be the first time I'm out there this spring. I'm going to show you what my plan is. So I had all these boxes stacked up here. I only have the one garage, so a 3-car garage for everything that I do. But I had 2 boxes here of honey that they got left. You can see that there's a wax moth in there. They got left till the end, and they got some wax moths in them, and I didn't want to extract it with the rest of my honey, so I left it. So I have 2 full supers, or relatively full supers with full frames. So my plan is actually, if they're alive, if any of them are alive, and if they're low on food, which of course they will be low or out, I'm going to actually swap out some of these. At least that's the plan. Who knows if any of them are alive yet. But the other thing is that I have to figure out, I did put wax moth crystals in these towers here, and when I took the boxes apart, I could smell it. I'm gonna claim that it didn't smell as strong. I also didn't see any crystals anymore. You know, the paper towels that I laid down didn't have any actual crystals left. So I'm just wondering if the drive out with the supers, no top on them and whatever, it's about a 28-mile drive for me. If that's going to be enough of an, air out for them. I don't believe that the crystals, the active ingredient in the crystals, I don't believe that penetrates through the wax, but I will do some Google searching the best I can to see, because of course I don't want to put a pesticide basically inside my colony if it's still too strong. I know it needs to off gas. I just don't know what the timeline is for that. So I'm hoping that it's not long. It's an hour or so, and I can in fresh air with the wind blowing in the back of the truck as I'm driving. Hopefully that'll clear that out. So that's my plan. Now we'll get out to the apiary and see if there's any hives still even alive. All right, so we're out here at the farm. You can see it's pretty sloppy, so I'm not going to drive up in there. But here are it was actually 2 supers, but I split them into 3 to try and give them air, and of course they all slid sideways anyway. But yeah, so I'm just trying to figure out, I haven't looked it up yet as to if I think, that's a nice frame of honey there. Really nice frame. If I think that is gonna have, yeah, I get a little aroma of the crystals. I don't know if it has to be completely, the scent has got to be completely gone before the active ingredient is dissipated or not. But anyway, okay, well, I have those. They've been airing out in the back of the truck on the drive over here. It's about 25-30 minute drive. So now, well, plenty of wildlife activity. That's cool. Now we'll get up here and see what we got going on. Alright, so this is where kind of the moment here. I haven't been out here since October. We did have a few warm days that I could have stopped out, and I was just busy. Life of being a father of 4, having a full-time job and just doing this on the side. Just gonna pause here for a second and see if I see any activity at all. Initially, I do not. Any movement at all? Well, like I've said, priorities for me as a dad and a full-time detective for the sheriff's office. This is just a hobby, really. So sometimes things have to go by the wayside. Now this hive here, I think, had a really high count last year, which is why I didn't even put that. You can see I don't even have the mouse guard on that one. So I was kind of, my opinion was this one I should just let go. So I guess I'm just gonna dive in here and see if I can zero. So here's the other thing, like I don't see like piles of dead. No, it's all clogged up in there. I don't see piles of dead. I guess I could try the knock. Be disappointing, but not surprising, I guess. I didn't, you know. Okay. Whether I'll know whether they died of this one. I expected to die because I thought their mite population was super duper high. So I mean, again, it's kind of this thing I've dealt with before. Oh, I don't know. They have a ton of honey in here, but I see the cluster. That was all the way up to the top. So if they got too cold, or if they were just too weak, you can see the cluster in there. But you can also see that this is packed full of honey. So they shouldn't have starved. But again, if they're so small that they have to stay together and they're cold, if they huddle up right here and cannot move because it's too cold, then they potentially starve surrounded by honey. And they've died surrounded by honey. But I mean, they had honey right there, right next to them. So, all right. I mean, I'm not confident that any of my hives are alive right now. I would think that by this time, I mean, it's only 38 degrees, so maybe it's not all lost. I mean, just dead. I don't know. I mean, it's wet. Super wet. Not sure what that means as far as oh yeah, so that was the other thing with this one. I didn't even put insulation or anything in here. I didn't put a moisture board. I didn't put anything. It's been a while, but I think honestly I was just kind of letting this one go. I didn't even try. So there you go. I mean, so wet. You can see all the moisture coming out of there. So there was the condensation that would have gone up and hit the cold. Maybe it wasn't the right thing to do, but I think I was pretty strapped for time. And so I just decided these guys I'll let go. That becomes a mess then. With all these dead bees, and they're going to start to mold and but they were all the way up to the top, so get in here and check out the rest of it. I mean, that's all, again, tons of honey. So it wasn't the honey. They didn't starve. They've got honey right next to where they were. Just ends up being a mess. So just dead throughout. All right, well, that one, not surprised. Again, I didn't even put insulation in the top here, so it basically rained down on them. All right. So we'll try this next one over here. They're pretty quiet. Moisture board. Again, small cluster at the top there, dead. I mean, full of honey though. You can see I didn't wrap any of these this year. That's too bad. Oh! All right, we got some live ones. Yeah! I didn't think that was gonna happen. I was thinking... Yes. All right, we got at least one that's somewhat viable here. And I'll tell you what, I get a lot of grief for doing these upper entrances, but that's where they are. Yeah, I'm guessing it's all plugged down there. Lots of people tell me not to do those, and all I'll say to that is you do what you think is right, because this is what's worked for me in the past. I know that there's condensing hives and whatever, blah blah blah. This is why I do this. That's why I have that upper entrance, is because this is clogged, and I will want to get into this one in a minute, but that's all it took. So we didn't have that cold a winter, that much snow, all that kind of stuff, but we did definitely have 20 below days. And you can see all I did was I put a tiny bit, so this looks like maybe it's a 1/2 inch. You can see the specks on the top there are 3.2, just enough so that when that moist hot air is coming up to hit the top of the hive, it doesn't hit super cold air and start raining down on them. And then I have a moisture board. You can see I have a moisture board, so I'm absorbing the moisture that does come up, or a lot of it at least, and then I have a little bit of insulation. This is how I had it since October. Okay, I'll look back and see the last time I actually came out here, but since October, made sure, did what I could as far as giving them as much honey as possible, and I didn't, I bought those big black wrap things, and I bought a thing called a hot box, which are super expensive, from Man Lake, and I have had my issues with Man Lake, like we all have. They're a big company that we all use, and they're super expensive. I can't remember what they cost, but they look good and they make you feel good, I guess, basically, more than anything. So I have 3 of those. I didn't put on any of these. Now I've got 2 dead and 1 alive so far, so I'm not batting real strong yet, but I feel more confident. And of course, I haven't gotten into this hive here to see what we've got as far as actual numbers, but I got a bee butt there sticking out. That one looks dead, so I would be surprised, I guess, with that up there if this one is alive. This one feels pretty light too, so working a GoPro. One-handed. Ooh, that looks wet. Look at how wet that is. Doesn't mean they're not still in there. Sometimes I'm surprised. Whew, that moisture board is sopping wet. So again, tons of honey here. There's no cluster up top here. So where they perished. Hopefully this isn't directly in the sun. You can see what I'm doing. Pretty good, at least for now. Whoa! Oh! God, I love this. Just heard a bunch of buzzing. And I got bees coming up. Can you see them? Yes! Isn't that freaking cool? To go from what I did even just last year with the, like I said, with the hot boxes and the insulation and the yada yada yada, to now they're alive. I don't know how, you know, what they look like as far as population or anything, but that is awesome. And they've got tons of honey, so this whole top is all, I mean, this whole top super is full. So they are not starving. That is awesome. All right, I'm two and two, at least for alive. Ouch. Jesus, look at them. That is awesome. You take this so seriously, you know, with the whole buy every gadget that they offer, buy every gadget that they offer, you know, wrap them, put these hot boxes on there. You know, I've seen guys put 3 inches or all the way around the hives and on top, and then wrap them in plastic, and then put sugar on top and all this stuff. And at least with the minimal experience that I have, I'm starting to finally realize that insulation in itself is not necessary. Now, I've read about it, I've seen other people talk about it. Sometimes you just have to experience it to understand it, or go through it and understand it. So these, literally all I had for insulation for these guys was this. I mean, look at that. Look at how thick the wood is on the side there. That's it, all the way down. I put a moisture board on top. I put this super small bit of insulation to stop that hot air. And you can see it wasn't even fully, like, this piece of insulation isn't even all the way around. So the moisture that gets up here does condense, guaranteed, and run down. You know, this is all moisture. Now I have a moisture board that's going to absorb a lot of that, but there likely was, you can see where the insulation, was lined up here. There likely was moisture that would come up potentially here and run down the sides. But as long as it looks like, as long as you're absorbing the moisture in the middle here, and you know, for me, double up with a little bit of insulation to prevent that shock, and then the bees are insulating themselves, or they're tied up heating the cluster. They're heating themselves. They're keeping themselves warm. They're not trying to keep the whole, this is not me, like, because I'm me telling you this. This is what I've learned. This is what I've read. They're not heating the air inside. They're not heating the whole space. It's not like our houses. They're not heating every inch of inside of that hive. All they're doing is all clustered up. They're all tight together, and they're keeping each other warm, just like penguins in the Arctic, right? They just cluster together. They are outside. They just cluster together. In the middle, you're warm. You work your way out. You get cold for a while you keep other members of the colony warm, and you just keep doing that for months on end. So this is super cool. Super, super cool. And it's cold enough so they're not gonna be coming out at me. Minimal population there. Plenty of honey, it still looks like. They are all the way up to the top here now. So if this was full of honey, I know that, you know, there was honey in here to some degree. This would have been full of honey. And then now they've got 4 or 5 frames left in there. It's end of February, start of March. God, they should be good, but what should I do, you know? So then now is the, what do I do? Like, these guys are, yeah, these guys came up just to check on me because I was making noise, but it's 40 degrees. They don't want to be out here yet. What else can I do? This moisture board is sopping wet, but it's still absorbing moisture. I can swap out and throw this guy on top since these guys are dead. Give them a clean, dry moisture board. I mean, other things that I never did was I didn't clear this off, so it's so awesome. I could love this, man. This is so cool. Put that clean one on there, clean dry one on there. So I guess the only thing I'm thinking is this one we got to get through, and it's cold enough. I don't really want to. It's a decent, it looks like a pretty decent cluster. I don't know how far down they are, but I think the queen should, as it's warming up now, she should start laying again. And I also learned that they do raise a little bit of brood throughout the winter, apparently. A little bit. So I maybe am gonna put some, if one of these seems like it's nice and clean, worked out pretty good. I didn't even get into this one. Kind of all over the place, but I'm super excited. Super excited that they made it through. I know last year I think I had some that made it through to about now, and then I come back and they died. So I want to make sure that since I'm out here, ooh, that's a good population, it looks like. Again though, if I can give them a whole nother super, that would be ideal. So let's do that. Sorry, the camera work isn't that fantastic, but so if I clean out this. So tons of honey there. I certainly don't want to add any more moisture to them if I can help it. Three out of 5 alive, at least to this point, so. Oh, come on. It's 40 degrees out. Why would you want to come after me? Huh. Spam call. What are the chances? Oh, that's a massive one there. See that? I don't think that's fermented. I think that's potentially wax or something in there, huh? Like it's actually crystallizing? I guess, yeah, not wax, but it's I guess it could be some of the wax cappings that they were breaking off, but I think it's crystallizing right in the comb there. That's cool. Shouldn't be a problem, I don't think. Looks like those guys were maybe had a issue. I don't know if that's them shitting themselves there. that's the issue, then I definitely don't want to pass that on. Well, why, like, I don't understand the insistence. One stupid bee got all this honey sitting out here. If you want honey, have some honey, but the comb looks weird, as if it's almost kind of mildewing, but I don't know if that's a problem or not. There you go. So the one had a ton of honey. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to add to the one that the camera's sitting on. I'm going to add a super to them, I think. Let me double check. This was the one that I thought was still really full up as far as honey goes. I mean, that whole super up top there looks full. And I think the cluster is actually way down in the bottom. So we're gonna call this guy good, which is awesome. Problem is here. Oh, well, part of the problem. Again, so if any of you guys are in the military or in law enforcement, part of my training, as far as medical training, we don't get a lot of medical training. We just get the down and dirty, somebody gets shot in the leg. What do? We got a tourniquet, we got a stuff called quick clot that you shove in a wound to try and get it to clot faster, and that's really it. I mean, and when I have gone through some of this training put on by physicians who are often have military experience, and they say really there are three types of patients. Okay, there's the patient that no matter what you do, you can have them in an OR, an operating room, and working on them. No matter what you do, they're gonna die. Okay, there's the patient who no matter what you do, they're gonna live. Like it doesn't matter what you do as far as your intervention, they're gonna be fine. And then there's the middle patient. There's the patient that's in between, and those are the patients that we're worried about. Those are the people who, if you can put a tourniquet on, that's gonna save their life. If you can do this quick clot, packing the wound, that's what's actually gonna save their life. And so we train for just that, those patients that are right in the middle there, that what we do actually matters. So I was thinking about that as I was walking up here to see. So I was thinking about that as I was walking up here, thinking about these hives. I didn't do the interventions that I normally do. I didn't do the big black wrap. I didn't do the hot boxes. I promised myself, and I promised everybody on my videos last year, that I was going to do that mountain camp method where I would put sugar at the top just in case, so that they would have, because I had an issue with them starving last year, and I didn't do that either. I put this, I ran out here last fall when I had just a split minute to do something, and I put the moisture boards on, and I put the little bit of insulation on there. I buttoned up the bottoms, I put the mouse guards on, and that was it. I think I took a minute to make sure that they had equal amount of honey, and I knew that this hive over here was probably going to die anyway, so I think I pulled most of the honey from there and added it to these hives so that they were stocked with honey. But that's it, really. That little bit of insulation, and that moisture board sealing up the bottom. And again, I have an upper entrance that people say I shouldn't do, and I swear by them. That you can see the bottoms of these hives. Nothing's getting out there. Those are all clogged up. They do have an opportunity to come out here, and they do. So again, this is the down and dirty. Again, very minimal, and like I said, as I learn this process, as I learn this and research it a little bit and experience it myself, it makes sense, right? It makes sense because bees live in the wild. They live in hollowed out trees, and they don't have extra insulation. They don't have a hot box. They don't have moisture absorbing panels that somebody puts on their hive out in the wild. So they have to have their setup, and they have to figure out how to deal with what they got. And they're wild, you know, and they can do this if you give them just a chance. So I was frustrated last year with the mite levels. I was concerned coming out here when I heard that colony collapse, as they describe it, was an issue for beekeepers this year. And what I'm seeing is I have the hive that was right here that I've taken apart. That one I knew was gonna die, and it looks like, oh no, I didn't even put insulation on them. I didn't put a moisture board. I didn't put insulation. I know I was running. I probably would have if I had the equipment with me, but I was low, so I sacrificed that hive, knowing that their mite population was out of control, and I made sure that these others had the insulation and the moisture board, and it worked out. So again, I'm not through the whole season yet. It's end of February, and these guys still could die. I mean, is that population going to be enough? I don't know. They have honey. This one, and that one probably need more honey. And so this, and the population of this one is much higher. So I definitely am going to put this super that I've made up here, probably with this extra, is what I'm going to put in over there, and we're going to call her good. So not to make them too mad here, but again, it's pretty cold. So hopefully this isn't going to be a... Let's make this very minimal movement here. Moisture board back on. A whole new super full of chock full of honey. I'm slightly concerned that this could tip over. So what else I can do? Get the wind whipping up here. And that obviously would be the end. Yeah, this one's chock full of honey. I don't know what the population is like, but swapped out the moisture board there. Maybe I'll clean off this real quick if I can find my... It's not ideal. Wobbly that is not ideal. And I think I was going to try and add some to that. So let's see what we got here. Like so full. So it wasn't starvation, I don't think. Of this one. But that's all, I mean, it's all gone. Oh, did this one abscond? Maybe this one totally absconded. Yeah, so actually this one didn't, they absconded. I mean, they didn't die. The top had tons of, oh, I guess they, well, I don't know. There's not a lot of dead bees. There's this small cluster here. This is more just for learning now. Sorry about the camera work. Make you dizzy. Hope you're not too many cocktails deep. So there's this tiny cluster, which makes me think that they froze to death. But if you can see all the way down in there, there's no huge pile of dead bees in there. So I don't know if the majority of them absconded. That's what I'm thinking now. Interesting. Okay, well, clean this out and give this back to this other hive over here. A whole bunch of honey, at least in the middle. So if they want to cluster up in the middle, I think the place to do it. Yeah, well, there's piles of honey in here. So. That's a nice frame right there. Oh, yeah. But then there's this like side thing. Oh, there we go. All right, I am going to move that guy over here. Again, these guys don't do all that bad stuff. Holy cows, that's heavy. Oh. Okay. Call that freaking good, man. That's awesome. Yes. Even give them this cover that's got a little bit more insulation. I don't know, does it matter at this point? Freaking tough. Oh, I see. Yeah, I didn't even take the time to clean out any of this stuff. Like there, I knew it was a process that I just did very, very quickly because I'm like, I gotta get something out there. But I didn't have the time. Obviously you want that stuff knocked down so that the cover sits relatively tight on that insulation. There we go. Fits tight. There we go. Give them that opening like I like to do. Top front entrance. Well, that's it. So I've got 3 of 5 alive. I knew one was gonna be dead. I knew that this one was going to be dead. So not bad. Again, with the interventions that I did comparatively to what I did last year, doesn't really seem to change. Doesn't seem to change what happens. They're wild animals. They get them relatively sealed up, a little bit of insulation, a moisture board, enough resources, and of course tried to drop the mite count as best I could, and we're sitting pretty darn good. So 3 out of 5, and really 3 out of 4 that I was hoping would get through. So not bad. February 26th. Clean these 2 up. I don't know what to do with them. If I leave them out here, I'd love to leave them out here as get all the bees out of there so that they don't attract or don't mold, and maybe they can be a resource, or maybe they can be a expand box that they can potentially swarm to, catch a swarm. I don't know. I don't want to take all this back. There's kind of no point in that. If I can have it sitting out here in a way that it's not going to get all moldy and rotten and destroyed, I think I'm going to do that. I'll set them up.